Hello and welcome. Hopefully Bob Maher's internet is going to get fixed and he'll be able to play match 5. But for now, I'm now joined by David Ochoa. Welcome, David.
Hey, how you doing?
Pretty
I was
good.
expecting to get to play this round, but I don't mind switching it up a little bit.
I was expecting to be able to ask you about your match and why you chose the deck that you chose, but we got other stuff to talk about. You actually still have your Wormwood box, right?
Oh yeah, I got it in the mail. I think the day after I left for the PT, and so I didn't really have a chance to open it yet. But
Yeah,
it's
we did
here.
this. Yeah, we did this great promotion, Wormwood Gaming. You've seen them float around the ads in between matches. Code Vintage Super League will get you free shipping and get us a small cut. But they made us these super sweet deck boxes, and we all opened them when we got them on the last show, but you didn't get the chance to show yours off, so we can fix that. Let's see what you got.
Oh, all right. So got this nice little box here for everyone to see, and I suppose I can just give it a little bit of an open.
No next level giant machete to open it with?
No, I just use my wit. It's very sharp.
Nice.
So,
Well played.
It appears to be a box wrapped inside another box.
I have one of those.
Inside one more, and wow.
Wow. That's the other sponsor.
Yeah. So, this looks pretty cool. This is Flame Box Elder, which is...
Oh, you got the flame box.
Yeah, it's pretty
That
cool.
is sweet looking.
Yeah, it's all very, very bright and red, which I understand is supposed to stay there for quite a while, and then it'll eventually might fade a little bit, but right now it's pretty hot.
Oh, that is super sweet. Yeah, I love the VSL logo on the front. It's engraved. It should have your name inside the lid, too.
Yep. Let's see. Right there. If lost, please return to said Planeswalker. At least that's the idea. But yeah, so I mean, this looks pretty cool, and seems like it's going to be pretty durable and hold up for a while, and we'll be witness to more than enough match wins.
Yeah, I've been using mine to hold my Canadian Highlander deck. It's super sweet. Anyway, if you guys are in the market for these, are pretty high end deck boxes. I mean, you can choose depending on what kind of wood you get. That obviously has a pretty big impact on the price, but they're nice. They're definitely super nice deck boxes. So, thanks again to Wormwood for sponsoring the show.
Yeah, shout-outs out to them.
Looks like Bob is texting me.
Oh my. We might have an opponent for me after this next round.
Good. It looks like we will get a 5th match in, so good to know.
Okay. So speaking of this match that's coming up, we are going to be commentating on, let's see, it's Luis and
Tom.
Tom, yes.
Do you play either of these guys? Have you had the chance to speculate about what they might be playing?
I may know what one of them is playing, unless I have been misled, which I hope would not have that, because these two are two of my oldest friends, so...
Of course.
Them leading me astray might strike me a little bit too close to my heart. Or something.
I didn't spend a lot of time thinking about either of them. I would have put Luis on... I mean, I think he believes in this 2-depth metagame, but he also tends to share tech with Eric a lot. So my guess is that Luis may have gotten his hands on that landstill list that we saw in Eric Froehlich's hands. That's my guess.
That's a reasonable guess.
And then I don't know what Martell could be on. Wow, he could be on just about anything. Ah, it's time to find out. Let's head down to the match.
All right, yeah.
Welcome back to Vintage Super League. Luis Scott-Vargas has the standstill deck. Could not bring himself to play Workshops for Storm. Going to mix it up with some blue cards. His opponent, however, has gone with stacks. Not the aggro shops, the smokestack. And there is a smokestack in his opening hand. Interesting. Both of these hands are great. Looks like Luis is on the play.
Yeah, winning the die roll is pretty huge, and Unfortunately, this hand is a little slow for Luis.
Yeah.
But the upside to playing a standstill list is generally the land count is pretty high, and you can play with wastelands of your own, which will end up having the possibility of stealing games from the stacks players because they aren't going to be able to be reliant on their workshop being unmolested. Fortunately for Tom, he's got a Tolarian Academy also, so we'll just have to see exactly how powered up that teaching school becomes.
Yeah, how do you play this hand if you're Tom Martell? I know you've got a lot of experience with various workshop decks.
Well, I can't see all of the hand. I see Academy, Bridge, Stack, Workshop, Sapphire, but there's a player cam that's in the way of the rest of it.
Oh, your monitor resolution is different than mine. It's Thorn of the Amethyst, Tanglewire, and he just drew a second Ensnaring Bridge.
Thorn, Tanglewire. Well, I mean, you have to lead off uh, with the Sapphire for sure. And then
I had that part figured out, I will admit. I think it's a question of prioritizing Thorn versus trying to get a smokestack going.
I would lead off with Academy and go
Interesting.
with Thorn.
Is that because you want to get your Academy wasted, not your workshop?
Yeah, I mean, it's the Academy makes less mana, so it's harder to for the opponent to gauge exactly what's going to be going on. And I mean, overall in the long game, the Academy is going to end up working out to be better. But just for the first few turns, I would want to make sure that I'm getting at least 3 mana every single time. It's pretty close though. And so this Thorn is going to be pretty good for Tom, just because Luis's hand doesn't have any Moxen. But eventually, he's going to be able to start just playing standstills, and he'll, after he casts Time Walk, and then he'll just be able to play manlands left and right. And that can be a little problematic, though, because the manland wasteland count is going to be comparable on both sides, so it could get out of hand depending on how well each player draws.
Yeah, it seems like a kind of matchup where first guy to draw Crucible probably just wins.
Yeah, Crucible is pretty huge here. If this is the same list that Ephro is playing, which I didn't get a very good look at, it looks like there is a solid number of basics here, which is good for Luis. But that's
you see island, island, island. That is quite the big deal.
Yeah, there may be more basics in there, but after 3 basics, that's usually when you get to wondering if you're playing one color or like one in a soft splash.
Yeah.
But I anticipate that Tom's probably going to win this game just because Smokestack is so huge. But Standstill is pretty good at clawing your way out of it if Luis can draw enough permanents. And one thing that he can do is sacrifice the Standstill Smokestack, then like hope to draw like a Mox or something, or play Dig Through Time and then play another Standstill and that sort of thing. So that Standstill is going to either be 3 cards for him if Tom decides to play a spell, or a permanent to sack to Smokestack. So it'll be interesting to see how Tom plays this.
Doesn't seem like there's a good reason to play spell, is there?
Well, I mean, he just might want to just keep on getting just putting permanents in play. It's one of the best times to break Smokestack is immediately, and he can play 2 permanents. Or he might wait a turn.
The Standstill Smokestack interaction is kind of hilarious here.
Yeah, and there's a second Wasteland, so that's going to either go after the Academy or the Mishra's Factory. And it's unclear whether or not which one is better at the moment.
I would think you kill the Academy. Try to keep Tom pinched on mana. You kill the Academy and he's down to 4, and it's painful when it's 4.
But if you knock him off of mana, then I mean, you want to be able. This is a game of like manlands, and if with what Luis has in his hand, with another Standstill and a Dig Through Time, you're probably going to be able to handle most of the threats that Tom throws at you. Although I mean, it's not a guarantee though. but it is closer than one might think.
Okay.
Because Tom just had access to 3 mana off the Academy, a 4th with the Sapphire, 5, 6, 7 mana, and he had 4 cards in hand, so he just either did not have a spell that he wanted to play, or didn't want to break the standstill.
Luis goes to the Academy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So right now he's ramping up the smokestack, which is
Interesting.
Yeah, so he's probably basically going to reset the board here. Luis can go ahead and sacrifice the stack or the standstill again, and is going to have to get rid of an island. Then that will probably lead to a dig through time, followed by getting some lands, and then playing another standstill. Or just not playing a land at all, and letting
don't
the
you
stack
just
find out Tom.
at this point you just ride out the smokestack, right? You're just done playing permanents. You're not going to die to one Mishra's Factory.
Yeah. And it's unclear whether or not that Ghost Quarter is actually a strip mine or it's just placing. But with 3 basics being revealed already, you have to wonder how many more are in the deck, if any. But I fully anticipate Luis to go just do nothing. Maybe if he has to force a threat, then dig end a turn and pass on his turn, so that Tom has to continue sacrificing permanents. Because Tom's hand is not good outside of that Mishra's Factory. And that single wire is not really going to be doing very much because it doesn't have enough pressure. And right now those bridges are just going to be making it so that Luis is not going to be playing lands for an additional turn. Either that or you can just sacrifice the smokestack and then this ensnaring bridge if Luis doesn't do anything.
Yeah, this feels like strip mine plus smokestack takes Luis down to actual nothing, and then it's time to sack the smokestack to itself.
Yeah. Smokestack is one of the best cards against this type of deck. That doesn't really have too much removal, but it has a lot of ways. That doesn't have too many ways to get rid of an artifact. At least from what we've seen right now.
Yeah.
I suspect there is something like Back to Basics or Energy Flux even.
Black Lotus and Ancestral Recall are pretty good Magic cards.
Yeah. Yeah, they're not bad. Monastery Mentor is pretty good. We'll end up seeing what happens afterwards. Unfortunately, Luis did not draw into any more lands, so this Monastery Mentor is going to be not a little bit neutered compared to how busted it normally would be.
Interesting. Tom did sack the Ensnaring Bridge. Oh, I guess he's got another one in his hand. So.
Yeah, and this is going to be a pretty good start for Tom. He's just going to play out another smokestack, which I assume is going to get forced. And then it's just 2 Mishra's Factories versus Luis's board. And Luis also has an Ancient Tomb helping him out.
Luis pitches one of his 2 copies of Jace the Mind Sculptor. Does force a will the smokestack. Wasteland.
That was a good draw.
Now he goes Jace here, right? No, he just gets killed by Mishra? Like, Jace just dies to Mishra's Factory, doesn't it?
That's okay. I mean, it's... I would have played the Mentor. And just
that's what I was expecting.
But... You need to get into the situation, you need to draw land in either case, because since you burn your Lotus, you're not going to be able to play a Mentor. And these factories are just going to be able to kill Jace, so... You would really want to be able to have the option of having a Wasteland open to stop this if you were to play Jace. But I think the Mentor is the line I would have taken. I'm not really sure exactly if that would be correct, but that's just the way I would have gone. And the good thing for Luis, though, is that these Mishra's factories are also being raced by Ancient Tomb. Tom's not going to be able to have too many more tappings of those because his life's starting to get a little low.
And
But it's basically too.
Luis has a pair of Wastelands for the pair of Mishras too.
Yeah, and that's really
he'll be the one with the last Mishra standing.
Yeah. This Metamorph is going to cost quite a bit of life. He could animate a factory, take 4 off of his lands, pay 2 life to play Metamorph. So that he's going down to 6, and then clone a Mishra's factory, and he can activate the other Mishra's factory if that prompts a Wasteland in response. But these Ancient Tombs are going to really start to hurt in a second. Well, Wasteland was a good draw. Tom is probably going to force Luis to start using his Wastelands by attacking him. And going for the full 4, so that's a tough spot. Luis really wants to get that Mentor in play, which requires both of his lands, but he doesn't know what the top few cards of his deck are anymore, so wasting 1 is going to be a little problematic.
Do you think that Jace was a misclick from Luis? Like, he could have +2'd the Jace, been at 5 loyalty. Even if the Mishras attack him down to 1, he can then untap and go Wasteland. And now he's got a Jace versus no enemy Mishras.
Fate Sealing on himself would have been an option, yeah. And that followed by a Brainstorm.
Right, because you can kill both the Mishras if you buy a turn.
Yeah.
I guess he didn't know he was going to draw a second Wasteland when he made the decision, so maybe that's a little bit of hindsight.
One Wasteland would be, you'd still allow you to keep Jace alive because you get +2 on Jace, giving to 3 loyalty, Wasteland, one of the 2 Mishra's factories, and so it would be +2, -2 until some card changed that. But yeah.
It's interesting that Luis is taking damage here instead of using these Wastelands, but I guess now it's time. He can't afford to keep taking damage now that he's down to 6. Still has not found a colored source, though. Oh, geez, the Crucible. Man, that Dig Through Time found Black Lotus Ancestral Recall. He cast the Ancestral, and between the Ancestral and all the draw phases since then, he just has not found colored mana.
Ooh, that Workshop was pretty huge for Tom. But yeah, the Standstill deck has got about probably 18 lands in it, 18 to 20, depending on whether or not it's running Null Rod or Stony Silence, how many Moxes is playing. Yep. If you've got Mentor and Jace, then I suspect that's not on Null Rod and it is on the full set of Moxen.
Tom Martell with Smokestack blew up all Luis's lands, and Luis never did manage to find any more. So Tom up a game.
Yep, and it looks like there's an Arcane Lab, Mindbreak Drac, Stony Silence, Grafdigger's Cage.
Arcane Lab, that is some technology.
Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, it's a 3-mana spell, but it certainly gives you a lot of value. You get 3 mana's worth of spell out of that for sure.
Oh yeah. Crazy.
It looks like Tom has quite a few ley lines in his sideboard, and he's boarding out some bad cards for some good ones. Spine of Ishaw is going out, so is Ensnaring Bridge. And it looks like a fairly standardish sideboard. The shop sideboard can be kind of interesting just because you're going to have a lot of slots that you can dedicate to the mirror, and depending on whether or not you think your opponents are going to be playing Dredge, then you can have Skimp and put lots of mirror cards, or you can go for more like combo blue-based cards, more spheres, that sort of thing. And it looks like, yeah. Not really sure what Tom brought in besides taking out the Spanish saw. But I guess we'll have to wait until the game, next game starts. And we can see if we see any new cards. But Luis is going to be able to play, and I suspect that there is some number of mana drains in his deck, which will be a lot better, especially after being able to take out those mental missteps that don't really do as much. And it's not really clear whether or not he'll be keeping a hand, looking for any one specific card like Stony Silence, since Tom's build did not appear to be very reliant on those sort of activated abilities that his cards may or may not have. Wormcoil Engine doesn't really care about Stony Silence.
Looks like the show has gone long enough now that we can wish happy birthday to Chris Bakula.
Oh, yeah.
And it's I guess it's still Eric Froehlich's birthday now, too. They overlap by like 2 hours due to the miracle of time zones.
Yeah. The witching hour for Tom. Ooh, look. It's an energy flux, which is pretty great for Luis. And he has
Not
a fetch.
bad.
Tom's draw has 2 Crucibles, a Workshop, an Ancient Tomb, a Revoker, and a Mox Pearl, and a pop-out graveyard card. Either that or it's 6 cards. It
Lodestone
appears to be a
Golem.
Lodestone Golem,
Oh, jeez.
which is pretty
That's
good.
a good one.
Yeah. Go down mulligan.
Does Luis get to cast his Energy Flux? How does this play out? Luis is on the play, is the good news, having lost that last game.
Luis is going to keep the hand. He's going to lead it off with Pearl Delta Go. Emerald Delta Go, and hope that Tom doesn't play a Sphere or a Revoker. Alternatively, he can hold the Pearl, but there are more Spheres than Revokers, so I would just run it out.
Yep.
And he just...
Yeah, Tom needs to pop his graveyard out. He's got a card to the left, which we're about to see. It's the Lodestone Golem.
Yeah, this Lodestone Golem is going to be pretty good because there's a Metamorph to copy it next turn. So it's just going to be...
jeez.
Yeah, 1 turn away every single time. And then the Revoker is going to turn off the Emerald.
Yep.
So, Luis is going to take 5 here, and then then a 10, 1 off of his fetch land, or another 12. So it's 5, 12, and 1. So he's going to be at 1 life. So he's probably dead. That Ancient Tomb is going to be pretty good. So what he needs to draw is Time Walk followed by Wasteland to survive, I think. Otherwise,
That's all?
Yeah, this game's going to be over very quickly.
God, Lodestone Golem just... I feel like, all the spheres and thorns and things, I feel like, okay, fair enough. You've got a strategy. It's this weird off-the-wall thing. The Lodestone Golem, though, it's just as annoying to play against as the spheres, except that it kills you. I don't know.
Yeah, it certainly is very punishing. It hits very hard. If Luis draws Lotus, though, that will be good. You can use that as an out.
Yeah, the Emerald has been cut off by Revoker.
Or, let's see, Soul Ring
basically
does not do it. Yeah, so it's
Two-turn block here.
basically Lotus or bust. Then we have to have Tom not draw a land. Nope.
He's holding Energy Flux. He's played a land every turn and a Mox, and he's just going to die to Lodestone Golem.
Yeah,
Stupid chopstick.
nothing there, right?
Yeah, nothing new. Shop's doing what it does.
He's not out of the woods yet. He still has the Time Walk line. And the Mishra's Factory can trade for the Revoker.
Okay.
Alright, that's where that is going to be pointed at if he attacks with the Revoker, but they're both going to stare at each other for a moment. And this Thorn, yeah, that's going to seal the deal. Tom can play anything, and then as long as one of those cards is a Thorn. So even if he draws Lotus right now, well, Time Walk doesn't do it, but Lotus
Yeah, I
would
mean,
cost 1.
he can
Yeah.
upkeep one of the Lodestone Golems is the thing. Like, even Energy Flux isn't good enough now.
Yeah, that's why you need a Time Walk so you could draw Wasteland, so you could get rid of the Ancient Tomb.
Sure.
And
How about
that's
Force
good.
Well?
Yeah.
Luis
Wow.
Scott-Vargas falls to 4-3 with his standstill deck. Tom Martell up to 3-4. So gonna have a couple of guys to populate the middle of the standings, I guess.
Yep. It was certainly a quick match, maybe a little bit too quick for our viewers, which would have been lovely to get a good 3 games out of that. I know from the standstill deck's point of view, you're certainly going to get a lot of turns and get some interesting play. But Luis just got mauled by Lodestone Golems, which is
Pretty
unfortunate.
much. Tom has finally struck a blow for the guys on the left. It's been a good week for guys on the right.
Yeah, I'm going to see if I can continue that streak. Spoiler alert.
Fair enough. We do seem to have Bob Maher around. He was at least around 5 minutes ago. So thanks for hanging out, Webb. Good luck in the next round.
Thanks.
Thank you guys for sticking with us. We'll be right back with our 5th match of the night. So stay tuned.